Today, we're gonna be making sisig 3 ways. That's right, you got options. I simplify these sisig recipes so that it's gonna be very easy to make at home. So if you're a recipe purist, it's time to go. The vegetarian sisig might be too much for you to handle. First, we're gonna start with pork sisig, and pork is typically what's used in sisig. In here, I added 1 tablespoon of salt and a lot of freshly cracked black pepper, and then I just mix that in and let it sit for like 10 minutes. But watch until the end because I'm gonna add something on top of this pork sisig that will compensate for the lack of crunchiness. So to cook the pork in a large skillet, I'm gonna heat up a slice of butter. After that, I'm gonna add half of an onion that's been finely chopped. I'm using a red onion. And then we're gonna saute this until it gets soft. Now we're gonna add in the pork. So using pork belly really simplifies this whole process because traditional sisig is actually made with the pork's face and the pork ears and pork brain. And I just didn't wanna have to go through all that work. It's really good though. Okay, now to compensate for the lack of flavor that you usually get from the face and the ears and the brain of the pig, I'm gonna be adding in some pork liver pate. I'm gonna be adding 3 tablespoons in here because I just love the flavor that it imparts. You can see that pork starting to crisp up because I have the heat on very high. So to add creaminess to this dish, we're gonna add some mayonnaise. This is Kewpie, but you can add normal mayonnaise. So in here, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. And usually you get that creaminess from the brain, but it's really hard to find brain around here. Okay, I'm happy with that. The last thing we're gonna add is chilies for that heat. So it's totally up to you how many chilies you wanna put in there. So I'm putting in 2 chopped Thai chilies and then half of a red chili that's also pretty spicy. This amount of chilies I think will bring on some heat, but not too much that I can't handle it. So usually sisig is served on a sizzling hot plate. I don't know about you, I don't have a sizzling hot plate at home, but what I do have is a cast iron skillet. So I'm just gonna take my cast iron skillet and heat it up really hot. The last things you put on sisig when you put it on the hot plate would be calamansi, which is a small citrus fruit from the Philippines. But if you don't have it, you can use these tiny limes, which I found, or you can just use lemons. If you want it more sour, add more. So I'm gonna add like 3 of them. And the other thing that you top it off with is this seasoning. So this is Maggi. There's also the Knorr seasoning, and they taste pretty similar. They impart a delicious flavor on your sisig. Be a little conservative at first because a little does go a long way. All right, and then we're just gonna put a chili on top to warn people that this is gonna be a little spicy. And there is your pork sisig. So my dad says traditionally there is no egg on top of sisig. So I won't put an egg on top of this pork sisig, but I'll put it in the next one. Oh, I burned my tongue. It tastes so good.
Not too spicy. I think it's got the perfect amount of spice.
Okay, good. That was so good. But remember, stay until the end because we are gonna add something on top to add a little crunchiness. Now we're gonna be moving on to salmon sisig. For the salmon sisig, we're gonna add a few adjustments from the pork recipe. We're gonna add in our huge pat of butter. We're gonna fry up half of a large onion. So I'm gonna add a little bit more butter, and then I'm gonna add in the salmon. You can pre-season the salmon with salt and pepper, or you can just season it while it's cooking in the pan. So toss in 1 pound of salmon. This has been chopped up into chunks and deboned. And then I'm just gonna add in a generous amount of freshly cracked black pepper, and then about 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, and the mayo is making a comeback. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise in here. Now it's time to add the chilies. I'm gonna add in about half of a large red bell pepper. Yes, the red bell pepper is optional, but I recommend it. It adds a juicy and brightening crunch to this dish. All right, that's good. Now I'm gonna turn this off, and you know the drill. We're gonna heat up our skillet. So if you're watching out there and you've never had sisig before, you might not know the ratio of seasonings to put in. That's where the ladies at Omsom have got you covered. The founders of Omsom are 2 sisters, and they are representing loud and proud Asian cooking with their sauce starter packs. So in the Omsom starter pack, you have lard, lemongrass barbecue, and sisig. So I'm gonna get a little help from Omsom to shortcut this salmon sisig with their seasoning packet. Okay, and then I'm gonna open up the sisig starter pack. Oh, it smells so, ooh, so bold. Oh, it's so flavorful. I'm just gonna pour it all over the salmon sisig. And it says for bolder flavors, try not to boil the seasoning, so I'm just gonna mix this up and then turn off the flame. Oh my gosh, the sauce smells so flavorful. Okay, finally, the egg on top. To my dad, if you're watching, I'm just giving people what they want. And then mix up the egg while it's still sizzling. Oh man, that starter sauce just smells so good and it takes the salmon sisig to the next level. All right, perfect. Now let's turn off the flame and taste it. I've been waiting for so long to try the Omsom packet. I'm so excited to finally try it now. It's a lot lighter and more refreshing compared to the pork sisig. And the Omsom packet adds that flavor and there's extra heat in there that I didn't have when I was just doing the pork sisig. It's really good. So if you want to shortcut your time, go ahead and try out one of these Omsom packets and let me know what you think. Last but not least, we're gonna be making vegetarian sisig. So I've seen mushroom sisig be used as a vegetarian option, but today we're gonna be using this 20-ounce can of green jackfruit. Okay, you know the drill. We're gonna start off with a large pat of butter. Then we've got half of our onion that's been chopped. Right, now we're gonna be adding the jackfruit and I chopped it up into little pieces. I'm gonna add some freshly cracked black pepper, a little sprinkle of salt, and I know you usually add the Knorr or the Maggi seasoning last, but for the jackfruit, we're gonna add it in now so it can really seep into the jackfruit. I added about 10 squirts of this in there. All right, we are not gonna skimp out on the mayonnaise in this one. It's vegetarian, not vegan. Okay, and just like the other 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. Let's not forget our chilies. Green jackfruit has gained quite the popularity as a meat alternative, so I thought, let's use it in sisig. Okay, that should be good. Turn off the flame and we're gonna put it on the skillet. Okay, and once it gets hot, it's time to throw in the jackfruit. Okay, and then add your lime, lemon, or calamansi on top. The green jackfruit is already naturally tart, so you don't need that much of the lemon, lime, or calamansi to brighten up the flavor. And then just add a few more squirts of the Maggi seasoning if you need it. Ooh, check out that nice char it's getting from the pan. We're done! Now we're just gonna plate all 3 sisig dishes and we're gonna add the final garnish on top. For the pork sisig, we're just gonna add some chicharron rinds on top. For the jackfruit sisig, we're just gonna add some fried onions on top to add that crunchiness. And the salmon is great as is, or you can add an extra garnish of lime, lemon, or calamansi on top. And this goes for the pork and the jackfruit sisig as well. I'm gonna try this jackfruit sisig with the crunchy onions on top. It's just so flavorful, it's light. I love the sourness from the jackfruit. Weirdly enough, I think I really like this vegetarian one the best. The day has ended. We finally got through our sisig recipes, and that's all I got for you guys. But before you leave, please, if you love these 3 sisig recipes, give this video a big fat thumbs up. And also, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can get alerted of the weekly videos that I make in this channel each week. I'll see you guys next week. Bye! One more?
No, I'm gonna save myself for marriage. Marriage of the sisig in my mouth. No, the marriage of the sisig with
Oh my god!
the pandesal or whatever we're gonna eat it with.
Rice.